大怪盗アルセーヌ・ルパンが残した不思議な宝物ルパンコレクションがギャングラーに奪われた。失ったものを取り戻すために戦う怪盗、世界の平和を守るために戦う警察、君はどっちを応援する？
Hello and welcome to LupinRecap vs. PatReview, the podcast that's stirring up a storm. I am your host, Lokamasi, and with me is my lovely co-host, Fefner Masamune.
Y'all, I warned ya, Doug Bowser entered presidential office of Nintendo. He was definitely a Ganglar, had the Ganglar name and everything, and what just happened this last week? Giant Pokemon. You know why? Because they've all been replaced by Ganglars. Ghost just grew them all. I don't even remember the term for Pokemon getting big, because you know what? I already know it.
And today, we're talking about episode 29 of Lupin Ranger vs. Pat Ranger. But before that, let's have a little discussion on clip shows. No reason.
My opinion on clip shows is pretty simple in that they're usually kind of bad. They were fairly necessary back in the day, but like nowadays people binge everything, so like I don't know, they probably don't do clip shows at all anymore, because if they did, that'd be pretty silly.
Yeah, the biggest problem with clip shows is that there's two reasons for it. There's two reasons why you do a clip show. One, and this is the reason that like still is around today, is budget. You don't have enough money to animate new scenes, you don't have enough money to shoot new scenes, so you just reuse old footage. That's unfortunately inescapable in certain mediums and genres.
Yep.
But the second thing is that, there was a point where it was actually kind of useful to go back over everything, because, like, the internet didn't exist. You didn't always have, like, access to every single thing that ever happened on the show.
Yep, there's no place to just rewatch episodes either, so you kind of just had to rely on your own memory and whatever was showing.
Yeah, you had that. Eventually home video came around, but even then, that was, like, how many VHS tapes are you willing to own?
Yeah, that'd be a lot, and it would take time. Gotta put the videos in the VCR, you gotta watch them, then you gotta rewind. It's a lot easier to just have an episode where all the previous stuff happens in one place.
That being said, there are ways to do it right. I think the easiest way to do it right is to just integrate the flashbacks into the plot. Like, you can, if it's for budgetary reasons, which is all it really should be at this point, you just have to be really smart about how you disguise reusing footage.
Yeah, work around it.
Like, as long as the flashbacks don't go on for too long and they don't start narrating things that make it sound like they're talking to people who started the show with this episode, people won't necessarily think that it's just a clip show episode.
Yeah, pretty much just, as always, it's good to work with limitations. Gotta do that sometimes. Maybe it's not like as impressive or inspiring as a creative decision to work with a clip show as it is with other limitations, but, still.
Right. And then there's always the Utena method, where, like, the flashbacks are flashbacks and it's whatever, but the framing device is nonsense.
The framing device is actually important.
Doing wild things that you should not be that you would not expect to be doing in a recap episode. I remember, imagine me and actually skipped the first recap episode, and Alice was upset when they watched it. Like, this was important.
Yeah.
Why did we not watch this? Why were we planning to skip this? There's two characters we've never seen before doing the recap. This is important.
Oh, you saw this as a recap episode and skipped it? Surprise, it was crucial.
And then the second time they did it, well, I think it is more, like, emotionally devastating, and I respect it for that, but also I don't want to talk about it. It's really good, but it's also awful.
Just the worst. So yeah, Utena's pretty much the only example I can think of that would be positive. Otherwise, it's just, I don't know, I've probably gone through DVDs and been like, ah, that's the clip show episode, time to skip that.
Unda's budget was minuscule. Like, I think it's twice as long, or almost twice as long as Ava, and it had the same, if not a smaller budget. So, Ikuhara probably knew going in that they were going to have to do multiple clip show episodes. But yeah, that one's rare. It's more likely to just have a memory-focused episode that happens to reuse a lot of footage. Speaking of...
Episode 29. Pictures are memories. That one gets straight to the point. We open with the cops heading down to a welcoming party for Noelle. Unsurprisingly set up by Noelle.
I have been here for 4 episodes. No, 9 episodes, and no one has thrown me a party yet.
This is a disgrace. I'll make my own damn party.
Cannot believe you all.
Honestly, Noelle's probably happy about it. He can throw a better party than any of them. Like, what the heck would Kaiichiro do? Pfft.
That's why Noelle's narcissism works, is that he's not mean about it.
Yeah. However, they come across a group of Potamen being led by Gauche of all Ganglars. Just as the Pat Rangers leap into action, we also see the Juror trio, groceries in hand, as usual. Anytime they need to be outside, it's either Kairi alone goofing off, or they have groceries. The group see the battle already in progress, but it's just Potamen so far, so the cops are doing just fine. Except, however, they see something curious standing by Gauche. It's a Potamen with a safe instead of a head. It seems distraught by its existence. Anyway, Gauche takes this moment to join the fight, taking out Sakia and Tsukasa in an instant. Kaiichiro sees this and tosses a Potamen to the side to fight with Gauche. But this was all part of the plan. After a quick scuffle, Gauche pushes Kaiichiro forward into the gigantic hand of the safe-headed Potaman. Kaiichiro is struck on his head, which glows green before a whirlwind of photographs explodes from it. Kaiichiro falls to the ground, and Gauche seems a little disappointed with the results. So she takes the surviving Potamen and leaves. Tsukasa and Sakia run over to help Kaiichiro, who has no idea where he is. And even more curious, he has no clue who Sakia is either. We mentioned this during the episode, and while it wouldn't technically be possible since it was a side episode, man, it would be great if he remembered, Satoru.
It would be great if he started addressing Sakia as Satoru, and then realized it wasn't Satoru and freaked out.
Hey, wait a second. Where are your earbuds? Oh my god, you're not Satoru. What have you done? He took his uniform. How dare you? Tsukasa quickly figures out what's going on, and meanwhile the Juror trio find a photograph of themselves in a nearby tree. Cut to the intro. We return to the police HQ, where the cops are poring over the photos they managed to collect. Kaiichiro's harassing Jim since he doesn't remember the gigantic robot ever working for the precinct.
This is so weird for Keiichiro to do.
Well, I mean, what would you do if there was just suddenly a gigantic robot in your workplace?
I wouldn't start, harassing it and hugging it or whatever he's doing. It's like, oh, what a great big toy for me to play with. If that's a robot, I'm gonna let it do its robot job.
Robot didn't have a job around here the last time I checked. Hilltop asks Kaiichiro if he at least remembers him. Kaiichiro takes a second to think, and says that he does remember Hilltop. As an actor he saw in a movie once. Kaiichiro is very proud of his incorrect revelation.
Specifically, he remembers Hilltop as Eddie Murphy in Beverly Hills Cop.
Well, I mean, you got the cop part right, Kaiichiro. You did it. As the cops try to figure out what memories Kaiichiro still has, Sakia mentions that Kaiichiro did remember Tsukasa. Tsukasa shows Kaiichiro a photo of the Lupin Rangers, and we get a flashback to their entrance in the first episode, as well as the first time the cops' Kaisatsu changed. And Kaiichiro's attempt to jump from episode 2. But Kaiichiro doesn't remember any of it because he doesn't immediately fly into a rage.
What if he did just, start screaming and wait, why was I just screaming? I don't understand.
Damn you! Gravity, was it? Yeah, Gravity. Yeah, good job, Gravity, thanks. Noelle also brings up the fact that it seems that some of the photos are missing since they only have a table full of them. Most of the cops leave to find more photographs, but Kaichiro takes a moment to continue looking at the Lupin Rangers, noting that he has some feeling about them. He just can't pin it down. It's Rage Kaichiro. White-hot rage. We move on to Juror, though, where the Lupin Rangers are looking at a picture of themselves as the Phantom Thieves and wondering who took it, which causes them to flash back to the deaths of their loved ones because that's crucial for new viewers. They also remember Zamigo, who is very dangerous and is also important for new viewers to know about. Not that you'll see him for a while, but just gotta keep him in the back of your mind. Even if Zamigo doesn't remember how boomerangs work. Got to see that very important scene again.
I mean, in real life, if a boomerang hits something, it stops. So he knows how boomerangs work. The problem is this is not a normal boomerang.
Well, he didn't know the first time, though. It just passed him, and he was like, "Ha ha! Your plan has failed completely. Your projectile has passed me, good sir, and never again shall it grace my presence." We also get that one episode where Umiko worked with Tsukasa, and that one time Tuma was unfortunately in close proximity to Sakia. We then return to the present, where Noelle comes out of nowhere and nabs the picture they're looking at, telling the group that they're Kaichiro's memories. Back in Hell, the Ganglar group is discussing Gauche's terrible crime against their species, and Gauche enters the Podemen's combination 1, 0, 8, I think? The safe uses symbols that look vaguely like actual numbers. And she takes out the Podeman's treasure, La Mémoire, while mentioning that the piece's full power wasn't used. Gauche causes some flashbacks by mentioning how DeGranio's successor thing should be interesting, so we see a bunch of moments where the Ganglars fucking die. And also a few moments where the higher-up Ganglars wreck the Rangers, and sometimes when they lose. But then that ends and Gauche leaves to continue her plans. Back at Jure, we get flashbacks to Noelle's arrival, and some scenes where he does some stuff. Noelle then says that he thinks that both the police and the Phantom Thieves are necessary. He asks the group if they'd be in trouble if Kaichiro wasn't fixed, to which Kairi and Tuma immediately respond, "Nope." Umika also agrees in solidarity. Elsewhere, Tsukasa and Saki are searching for pictures, and much to Tsukasa's horror, one of them is of her hugging a stuffed animal. There's also a flashback to episode 11 in there, but we have a pretty clear policy when it comes to episode 11. Don't.
Yeah, what do you mean episode 11? It just goes straight from 10 to 12. It's a joke.
Yeah, the number 11 is actually cursed in Japan. That's just it. No 11th floors on any buildings. It's weird. Jim then calls in and alerts the other cops that Kaichiro escaped and his whereabouts are unknown. But we, the viewers, see Kaichiro searching frantically for a Ganglar to beat up. Just running wild, real mad, and he doesn't even know why.
Even when he doesn't know he's a cop, he still has to fight crime.
Literally, I will punch a crime in the face. I'll do it. Show me the hell mob, I'm gonna choke him. Back at Jure, the "we should help Kaichiro" conversation isn't going well in Noelle's favor. But he does remind them about Kaichiro's passion for justice, which, even when it does annoy the Jure trio, is still helpful and necessary, and just in general morally nice. And at one point, they even had to help the cops as well. And some other points, but only the Lyman one happened in the knowable timeline, so that's the only one that was mentioned. Yet again, poor Jackpot is just completely ignored.
Justice for Jackpot.
We then cut to some Podemen attacking a woman, and then suddenly Kaichiro dives in and starts fighting them. He does better than he ever did with a gun, even if he's not quite as good as Kairi. After some close calls, Kaichiro takes out his versus changer, which seems to remind him of something. At this point, the Phantom Thieves come in, and Red introduces them as the Phantom Thieves that he forgot. While Kaitro is distracted by trying to remember things, the Phantom Thieves do some fighting. At last, Kaitro recalls himself, at which point all of his memories fly off and re-enter his head. And with a sudden shout of, "Damn you, Phantom Thieves!" everyone realizes that Kaitro is back. Now extremely angry, Kaitro Kaisatsu changes, being the only person to actually do so in the present in this episode, and he then equips the crane, to his arm. There's just a giant vehicle on his arm now.
Yes, we finally see the Keisatsu boost for the crane. They keep using biker because it works, but this is what crane looks like.
Yeah, it's not shooting a wheel, you just have a crane arm now.
He just falls over. It's too heavy.
Oh no, I remember everything, but I never did this before. Whoops. Oh no, wait. Before Ichigo absolutely destroys everyone, Blue enters the Potoman safe combination, which is indeed 108, and grabs Memoir. What its full power was supposed to do, we may never know. But Chase You Up has started playing, so the Phantom Thieves get the heck out of Dodge while the crane arm whips the drill vehicle around. Remember, those two are paired up.
Mm-hmm. It's just it's a flail that is, heat-seeking. It's a flail that knows how to hate and hold a grudge.
It kills all the Potomen and provides some smoke cover for the thieves to escape. Kaitro's not happy about that one. Ghosh officially leaves from wherever she was hiding, noting that there needed to be some adjustments, whatever that means. Good Striker wanders in and wonders why Ghosh hasn't entered to make anybody big. He flashes back to some of those scenes, as well as multiple flashbacks to his Gat times. His Lupin Gat times. Kaitro will remember this. I mean, he at least mentions some things that Pat Kaiser did, just, as a second thought. And sandwiched between that and X's big transformations. The other two cops rush in, knocking Goody away, since he was only necessary for flashbacks. Kaitro apologizes for worrying his companions, and Sakya hugs him while asking him not to forget him ever again. With that threat done, Noel reminds everyone to go to his party. That night, Noel wears the gaudiest yukata he can get away with because it's Noel.
It's just the worst.
Remember, he's all about duality, so it's gold and black.
Sometimes I forget that he has that, gray vest and pants that he wears because it's normal looking. I'm used to him dressing like an idiot.
That night, both the cops and the juror trio are there, and the party is so nice that even Tuma approves of the food. Oh, right, and Kaitro has a sleeveless yukata somehow. Do they sell those?
I don't know what's up with Keiichiro's outfit.
I need to know if they're available for purchase or if Kaitro had to make it himself. Did he just tear the arms off some yukata?
I mentioned, Keiichiro wants this cosplaying as, a Toshiro Mifune character. He's just arms bared, just downing food. He looks like he's about to start a fight.
They talk about memories for a bit since that's the theme of the episode, and Tuma also eats something in the background, which is cause for celebration. We then close out the episode as fireworks start going off. Kairi looks over to Kaitro, who smiles before they turn their focus back to Noel's showy fireworks. And that's the end.
It was in fact a clip show episode, so...
Yeah, no Ganglars to talk about, unless you want to summarize every Ganglar No, I can't even finish saying that. We're not summarizing every Ganglar.
We did have a Ganglar. We got Safehead.
He's still a Potoman. So yeah, it was a Potoman with a safe on his head. He was there. Really, it's more about Ghosh's crimes against Ganglar-manity.
Yeah. I guess instead of talking about the fictional villains, we can talk about the real-life villain of this Sentai show. Toei Incorporated.
Ah, yes.
I'm not sure how long ago this was announced because I've not been keeping most up to date on the show now that it's over. But Toei has officially declared Lupin Ranger vs. Power Ranger to be a financial failure.
Fools, all of them.
Critics really loved it. The ratings were apparently really good, like better than they've been for a while. But Toei was really banking on toy sales, which didn't happen.
Because the show is made to sell toys, and lo and behold, you can't keep selling toys based off of some sort of Sentai thing for years on end.
Well, that and, like, asking people to pick a side was maybe not the best decision. I know that they were probably relying on collectors who are going to buy everything anyways.
Yeah, Loka.
Shut up. but that's only so much money. I mean, I would have to imagine their main market is the kids, and the kids are only going to buy half of the toys.
And if they like the Pat Rangers more, then they're only going to buy 2/3 of those, apparently.
So yeah, I also don't know how long ago this was announced, but I may have actually started airing by this point. But the successor Sentai show is Ryusoulger, which is another dinosaur themed one, and that's sort of like the last ditch effort because dinosaurs always sell well for Toei.
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned the Power Rangers are the second cop themed. I think Ryusoulger will be the 5th dinosaur theme.
Jeez.
And it's sort of telling that, I forget exactly when Sentai started, but they went, over a decade before doing their first dinosaur with Zyuranger. And then it was, 10 years before they did, I think Aba Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was about, 6 years before they did Dino Charge.
Oh, goodness.
And it started happening more and more frequently, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, it's a shame that Toei is just basing most of this off toy sales, because, I don't know about the rest of the shows, of course, but I feel like they probably do a pretty good job with characters and set pieces and all that. I mean, look, at the very least, I know the miscellaneous gifts are extremely good, so silliness factor, always on point, probably.
Yeah, we're really invested in this show, and I only just started buying the toys recently.
You could have saved it.
Something tells me Toei was expecting a bit too much than is actually possible.
Yeah, that's kind of how it works all the time. You gotta make all of the money on the planet, and if you didn't do that, well, you messed up somewhere, pal.
So yeah, it's possible that we entered Sentai in its twilight.
Can't believe I killed Sentai personally.
This is probably just doomsayers, but there is speculation that Ryusoulger is literally the last hope for Sentai.
Mm-hmm.
And if that toy line doesn't sell, Toei's going to cancel Super Sentai.
Well, if we can't do dinosaurs, then what's the point of keeping up this tradition? This genre that we've made, kept it running for years upon years upon years. Dinosaurs can't cut it. Got nothing.
It would be interesting if Toei stopped making Sentai shows.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would sort of open the floodgates to other Sentai shows. Because I don't know the exact, legal stuff. But Sentai is probably too generic a descriptor to actually trademark. And in front of every episode, it says Super Sentai owned by Toei. So you can presumably make Sentai shows, just not Super Sentai shows.
Alternatively, Toei will just figure out a different thing to create to sell toys. Then they'll just fill their old time slots with that.
Well, yeah, but I'm thinking more of I don't care what Toei does. I'm more interested in the future of Sentai as a genre. Because this could lead to Sentai fading away and dying out and becoming a relic, or it could lead to an indie resurgence. If maybe I'm being a little too hopeful with that.
At the very least, it will exist conceptually, probably till the end of time, if we're being honest.
Yeah. It'll just have to be as something that used to exist.
That would be a really weird thing.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, somebody else make a Sentai show. Again, haven't even watched that much Sentai, but like, I don't know if I want to exist in that world.
Yeah, I mean, there are other Sentai shows besides Toei's. In fact, the first Sentai show to have multiple heroic teams that, like, nevertheless fought each other, much like the Versus series here, was a non-Toei Sentai.
Ah, neat.
I cannot think of the name right now.
Oh, heck.
And there were a lot more than 2 teams. I think there were like 4 or 5.
Alright. Don't know how that would work out, but admittedly I am curious.
Yeah, so there have always been non-Toei Sentai. It's just it would be weird if they would be the only one to exist.
Yeah.
So anyways, that tells you how much there is to talk about this episode.
Oh yeah, if you want to know more about this episode, just listen to our previous episodes.
Yeah, the framing device was neat. This was fun to watch. It was really cool to see the crane get used as a boost instead of a Zord.
Yeah.
And
But,
Keiichiro's little character thing here was nice. It was nice seeing him basically like reacquire his own backstory.
Yeah, and it's nice to see that, like, even without his memories, he is still as dedicated as always.
Yeah, because when he was a kid, he had that experience, that run-in with crime that left him in fear for a while. And then in the present day, when he loses his memories, his first thought is, well, I better make sure this doesn't happen to anyone else.
Yep.
Which was the same thought he had as a kid.
Yeah, so that's neat, but, like, nothing else really happened throughout the episode.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty much just, oh, look at this photograph.
Every time I
All
do.
right. Flashback. Alright, wasn't that neat when that happened. Alright, next scene. Let's think about things that happened before. Alright, we did that. Pretty much until Kaiichiro just decided to charge in and do something. Noelle and Kaiichiro were pretty much the only active participants throughout the episode.
Yeah.
Noelle mostly because he really wanted his party.
And that probably does it for this episode.
Yeah, I don't really have any predictions other than, I don't know, Ghosh seemed like she wanted to do something, but I don't know, her leaving and muttering about adjustments could just be a scientist thing, like, back to the drawing board, but then we never actually see anything come of that.
You don't think that she's going to make a second Potamen with a safer head?
I mean, it could always happen. We've had multiple golems, so...
Every couple of weeks, like, okay, this time. Didn't work? Okay, fine.
But yeah, I can't really think of how they would really bring back La Memoire. Unless Kogure's going to use it when he reveals himself as the true villain.
He was the Granio all along.
Oh no!
That would make the least amount of sense.
Yeah.
But anyways, it sounds like that does it for this episode.
Yep.
If you want to follow us on Twitter, we are at LRVSPR. Fefner is FF Masamune. If you want to email us, you can email us at LupinRecap via PatReview@gmail.com. And we will see you in the next episode.
Adieu.